cold ice bucket challenge.
He was just a fun-loving guy.
Oh.
Mary Ann Hines and her husband of 44 years had big plans for retirement after Kevin's 30 years selling cars in Salina.
We were looking forward to doing, things together.
Things with family, with grandkids, and with that 72 Buick convertible he loved. Mary Ann never could have imagined when Kevin left their home last summer, sick with COVID.
That would be the last time that he would be here.
Kevin died after weeks in the hospital, most of it alone.
It's still hard to believe that he's gone and the way he went.
The type of hole in his family's hearts.
You know what time it is, America? Beer 30.
Also felt by Dave Metzger's family.
We loved going on vacation. I mean, he lived for that.
Dave's wife, Christina, remembers taking him from their Clark County home to drop him off at the hospital last year, since she could not go in, not knowing it would be the last time she saw him.
It's almost devastating to know that they're in that bad shape and you can't even be there,
She's pushing forward, knowing that's what he would want, but also with the feeling
I think everybody's just missing a great guy,
She did everything she could not to get it.
Charles Averett said his wife, Tawana, was the last person he thought would get COVID, with how seriously she followed the health guidelines. But last fall, the nurse and mother of 7 died after a long battle.
It was real hard telling them that she died.
Just weeks after giving birth to her youngest child.
We'll do our best, to keep her mother in her life. It's going to be hard.
He was the first official COVID death in Miami County.
A nearly 4-decade aerospace engineer at Wright Pat, Alan Shump died during the Kester Pavilion outbreak last spring. He got sick right after nursing homes stopped allowing visitors.
Every time I said goodbye to my dad, I always left thinking this could be the last time.
Daughter Renee's sadness, not being by her father's side in his final moments, softened a bit by her thankfulness for the person who was.
I don't know who Katie is, never met her, but Katie sat and held his hand while he passed.
Harry Sponsler's GM retirement party a few years back was supposed to mark the beginning of a new chapter, a time to do the things he loved.
He golfed every week with friends that he had since high school, some of them.
But this chapter, in the story of a life well lived, ended too soon in December. Linda spoke of a brother-in-law who loved his whole extended family, a loss they have not yet begun to fully realize.
It will hit us next year when we are able to be together for the holidays.
The holidays will forever be changed for loved ones of LeRoy Line from Preble County, his daughter and bride Kitty by his side as he battled COVID on Christmas.
We just stayed there and held his hand all Christmas Eve or Christmas Day into the next day.
The longtime farmer and Vietnam veteran died December 26th.
He was just the most giving, and he loved everybody, and he was my best friend. We'll be celebrating our 35th wedding anniversary next week.
If there's anything Cindy Overholser can take solace in, it's that her mom is back with her dad.
She missed my dad. She always missed my dad.
A former boom welder and someone who always knew what was going on in the neighborhood.
Oh, she knew anything and everything. She got into everybody's business.
Erica caught COVID in her nursing home just after Thanksgiving. Her death, leaving Cindy with something so hard to think about.
She was so close to getting that vaccine.
Who says you can't have fun while working? Well, certainly not longtime Washington Township firefighter Lieutenant Jeff Guernsey.
He loved to get his job done, but he wanted to have fun.
His wife Jenny says the family never thought Lieutenant Guernsey would get so sick from COVID.
I mean, he was 52. He worked out every shift. He was healthy.
But after a battle that lasted so long, his family mourned the loss of their rock in December.
He wouldn't want us to sit around and cry. He'd want us to move on and, try the best. I mean, there's days when it's just, it's unbearable and it's awful.
It was, the worst week of my life.
For Rachel Dameron, it was hard enough when she lost her grandfather, a longtime West Carrollton barber. But as she planned Glenn Bennett's funeral, she could not have imagined her dad would soon be gone too.
Never won as long as you live and live as long as you want, brah.
A dad she says never missed a chance to try and make his family laugh, one who seemed unbreakable. Truck driver, construction worker, farmer.
He was tough as a mule.
Scott Dameron even walked himself outside to the ambulance when his COVID got bad. His death in the hospital still hard to comprehend, not just for Rachel and her family, but for their 5 dogs who Scott loved like children.
They'll hear us say Pap and they'll, go to the door and looking for him, and it just breaks your heart because it's like, we're grieving and our animals are grieving.
It feels like I'm living a nightmare.
And then there's Heather Gray, who's never been far from her husband. She and Steve grew up 5 minutes apart but never met. Well, until they did, and that was it. 31 years of marriage, children, grandchildren, and what should have been a lot more time.
He took care of me. He was my protector. He was my comedian. He made me laugh.
Heather still can't comprehend she was stuck at home with COVID herself as Steve took his final breaths at the hospital.
My last time with him was dropping him off at the emergency room.
9 months later, a sign on Heather's wall speaks of a bit of heaven in their home, but she also looks for the more subtle signs.
I always look for red birds. I always look for just any type of sign that he sends me.
Signs of a man gone, but not forgotten.
He was the light of my life.